a little Across the Spider-Verse trailer.
I'm so looking forward to this movie. I loved the first Across the Spider Verse. Such an excellent movie.
It was amazing. I still remember we saw it at the theater, and I just walked out of there like, now that is how you do an animated Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
It was. It was indubitably. It was just, and that was all Sony, right? That wasn't. Marvel didn't help them out with that. That was just the Sony.
That was Sony somehow, stumbling into this movie, carrying all of their stuff and tripping over their own feet, but somehow creating a masterpiece accidentally. But then looking around and saying, "Yes, look at me! Look what I have created! Look what I have done! Now watch my Morbius."
Now that's what's got me worried about the second one. Usually, like when a second one wasn't planned and it was done because the first one was so immensely popular, that usually drops off in quality. I hope that doesn't happen here. It doesn't look like it, but
And I think the good news is, I think what are their names? Chris Lord or Phil Lord and Chris, can't remember the names. The same guys who did the first one, who came to Sony with the idea, are doing the second and the third one. So good. I think it's their creative process and their ideas that made it good. I think Sony was just like, they're like, listen, we're gonna have a bunch of Spider-Man in it. We're gonna have Kingpin in it. And they're like, oh my God, tell us more. What? We gonna do all of our characters? Can Morbius get in there?
I would still be a little concerned with any sort of shenanigans that would happen in the editing room, going in there and making cuts or doing things like... I was actually watching something earlier today, and the reason why I guess this is on my mind, going back and talking about all the times that Comedy Central would go in and make edits to a South Park episode prior to it going on air. And there was one where they didn't want a certain character, who I won't name, showing in an episode. And so they covered up that character with a big black censored bar the entirety of the episode. So, what I'm saying is I hope... Huh?
What character? I've never watched South Park.
I will not say. I'm not trying to get us in trouble.
Okay. They did it because it was... I thought it was like one of the normal characters they just didn't want to show. Gotcha.
No, but yeah. So I guess I'm a little concerned that Sony will get big heads about all of this and be like, "Yes, we are the artists. We know how to create good movies, and we will go in and we will look upon your Spider-Verse and determine what we need to add or remove." And you know what? Let's get Vulture in here. Do some Vulture scenes real quick.
Vulture is in the trailer.
No. Let's get our Vulture in here.
Oh, Michael Keaton, yes.
Yeah, let's get Michael Keaton in here. And how many scenes does Jared Leto have? Not enough. Get some more.
Could we work in Madam Web?
I think they should have Jared Leto in there, but he should be the only non-animated character.
Yes, exactly.
Well, come on, Dave. That's no surprise. You're Morbius' biggest fan. Of course you want Jared Leto in this movie.
Morbius was so good.
Hello, Peter. How are you?
Well, without further ado, maybe we should watch a little bit of the trailer. We can talk about it. Opens up on the Sony. We see all that wonderful animation going off. Tundra Walker did say he's a little too old for 5 different animation styles, but I disagree with him. We see Miles talking to his mom, which I thought was kind of nice.
Tundra Walker demands more. More than 5.
Yeah, sorry. We need more than 5. But I like how he's talking to his mom in this, because I think the first one's centered on his relationship with his dad a little bit. And it looks like this one might be going a little bit with his mom. So that could be interesting.
I'd like to go a little bit with his mom.
Whoa. She's an animated character, Doug.
Is she? I thought she was the only live action person.
No, that's Jared Leto.
Whoa.
Then we see
in a wig.
We see some older. We see a lot of the footage from the first Spider-Verse movie. We see Stan Lee's cameo. We see him in that old thing. We see him swinging with Peter B. Parker, Spider-Gwen. going
So
to the thing.
this is the thing that worried me about this specific trailer. I assume they're going to release something else later on, like prior to the movie's actual release, maybe like a month out or whatever. But yeah, just for them dropping this and saying this is your first look or this is your first trailer or teaser or whatever of Spider-Verse, it's not part one anymore, right?
It
Are
is
they
not.
doing part
No,
one still or?
it's Across the Spider-Verse, and then the next one is called something else.
Okay. Well, either way, seeing this and then seeing so much of it, it was like, I want to say almost 90% scenes from the previous movie. And I thought that was an unusual choice. So I don't know if that means that they don't have enough of the movie done yet or what that is.
Yeah, it's 6 months out, more than 6 months out, because it's coming out June 2nd. So maybe a lot of the animation isn't done yet, and they just wanted to get a little bit out, get excitement going, whatever it is they're trying to do. So yeah, it is odd to have so much of a previous movie in the trailer, but we see some new footage. He's saving that car.
And what I worry about most.
We see the stuff with his dad, but we see him here. It seems like a new scene. He looks a little bit older than he did in the first movie, so I wonder how much time is going to have passed between the first Spider-Verse movie and this one.
Look out for
A
you.
year.
Gus.
And then we see, this almost looks like the same scene from the end of the movie, where Spider-Gwen comes, and it's kind of like...
That is.
It isn't, though. He's wearing a different shirt, because I just watched the other one the other night.
Oh. Huh.
But your internet is glitching.
My internet?
Yeah, it's popping up on your like different images in front of you every few seconds.
That's just the Spider-Verse animation.
No, it's on. It's on.
No, I saw it too.
Unless Doug's in the Spider-Verse.
He might be getting pulled in.
Yeah.
It's not doing it anymore, but it was doing it for a second there, too.
Okay, interesting.
Then we see Spider-Gwen, played by the extremely talented Haley Stanfield, also Kate Bishop in the MCU.
Promise to take care of that.
And did you notice we got the hexagons again? Does this mean this is going to be in the MCU? Now we start seeing some of the new stuff, and I was trying to figure out all who these people were. And they have,
You never
where is he?
forget.
The one I was laughing at the most, but they got like Cop Spider-Man,
Where he came from.
the old one of them, the Iron Spider from the the Spider-Verse they did from the 93 or the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. He's in here somewhere. I should have got better photos, but the one I was laughing about,
the 2099 Spider-Man thing they did too.
no, not the 2099. The he was like the Iron Spider, but he has like the silver thing. He was in there.
Oh, that. Yeah.
And if you look on the left-hand side of the screen right now, you see a Spider-Man wearing a bag on his head. And for those of you that don't know, when Spider-Man went to Reed Richards to get the symbiote off of him, the Venom symbiote, he didn't have anything to wear after they got it off him. So Johnny Storm gave him a Fantastic Four costume and a bag for his head. So he was like spinning home. And I thought that was hilarious that they got that in here. But I mean, they have so many different Spider-Men in here. It looked like, I can't remember them all now. I should have taken better screenshots of them. But we see Miles and Ghost Spider. We see Peter B. Parker, which it looks like he has a little thing for his kid, which Mayday Parker is his daughter with Mary Jane. So it looks like after the last movie, he kind of cleared things up with Mary Jane. Then we see that scene that we had from the screenshot we had a couple weeks ago where they're sitting upside down next to each other. Then we get, here's what I was talking about, Doug. Here's Spider-Woman fighting with like a vulture of some type. But it looks like an actual vulture or a
It does.
paper.
It almost looks like, almost like he's mixed with Moon Knight or something.
Well,
Just the
that's
way
a
that
good
he's
call.
drawn.
Yeah.
And he never lets.
I mean,
Oh, and then look at
his
his sleeves by his shoulders.
I'm
You
up.
notice that it almost looked like medieval, I guess, or Victorian.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
weird puffy sleeves.
Definitely could be. And then I like
I'd be
here
willing
we
to
see
bet that we haven't seen that character before.
Probably not.
we do see. I like this. We see. Speaking of Spider-Man 2099, played by Oscar Isaac in this movie, Dave's favorite Moon Knight, and then we see him looking at a screen with his daughter. So I almost think that's kind of funny. We already saw Miles with his mom, and then we see Spider-Man 29 looking at his daughter. So we may get though that parallel in the movie, Miles and his mom, and then Spider-Man 2099 and his daughter. And no, Tundra Walker, there is no Sonic the Spider Hedgehog. But then we see.
Because I created that, it's my original character, trademark copyright.
You get all the money for it. We see Spider-Man 2099 talking to Spider-Woman,
Doesn't belong here.
and they're saying he doesn't belong here, which I assume, and who knows, they're talking about Miles, because in a minute here we see them all going after Miles, and which that whole thing, we see his mom again. Take care of that kid. And this is where we see like all of them coming after him, which, I mean, the animation here looks so nuts. It's like each character has like their own animation. I was watching it frame by frame. Like I was had to get up and take a break because it was hurting. But I love this because we see here, there we go. There's a good shot of Spider-Man 2099, the one that's played by Oscar Isaac. For whatever reason, he is coming hard after Miles. And we hear a little later in the thing, like, we're the good guys. And you hear Oscar Isaac say, that's why we're doing this. So it sounds like for whatever reason, they think Miles is either going to cause something really bad to happen, or he's, I don't know. I honestly don't know. They show so little about the actual movie. Then we see
That's glitching again.
was he glitching again?
Yeah. I mean,
He's just in the mood.
Supposed to be
yeah, you're really plugged in tonight, Doug. He's just overloading the system. That's what's going on.
And then we see, I love this that they have, because Spider-Man 2099, for those of you that don't know, there was like the heroes were gone, and this guy worked for, I can't remember the name of the company he worked for, but we saw him in the first Spider-Verse movie, and they gave him something, and he was trying to cure himself, and he ended up getting these powers, but he doesn't really stick to walls. He's got like talons that he kind of sticks into stuff, and you can see this here. When he's chasing Miles, he's like not sticking to this, whatever it is. He's like digging his talons in. And he jumps at Miles, he knocks him down, and he's like, I think that's it. Yeah, that's kind of all. Like you said, Tundra Walker, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you at halftime. The Packer game has started, so he's going to watch that. But we got a little bit of new footage, a lot of old footage, and really nothing we know, not much to really go on for what the plot may be, because the one thing we do know is the Spot is going to be the villain, and we did not see him at all in this trailer.
It's like the preview for that movie Babylon. It gives away nothing. All you can see are the three people that are in it, and then it just says Babylon. It's the same thing. You don't really get to understand what they're previewing here. Just get to see the characters.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And you never know if they're doing it so they don't give anything away because it's so good they don't want to spoil it, or it's so bad they're giving you so little to go on and be like, come see it opening weekend, because no one's going to see it the second weekend. But I think this is.
It's a movie.
I do think this is going to be.
I hope it doesn't. I hope it's not just a movie. I hope it's as incredible as the first one.
Me too.
And I
With
hope
that name, Across the Spider-Verse, is it like do they have a Beatles soundtrack? Across the universe?
Maybe. I forgot they showed who was doing the music. It wasn't the Beatles. But someone's
like
big.
Danny Elfman or something.
No, I forget. It was a young kid. I can't remember his name now. But I do think
John Lennon Spider-Man.
Well, that'd be great if we got the Beatles Spider-Man in this. That would be kind of funny.
Yes.
But we had so many different Spider-Verse like storylines in the comics and everything. We had Spider-Geddon, Across the Spider-Verse, all this crazy thing. So they've got a lot of source material to pull on and change and tweak it a little bit for their own fitting. But the fact that these guys really love Spider-Man so much, and it showed in the first movie, I'm praying Sony gave them enough leeway to make the movie they want, and we get, quality.
You know what we
Quality
ought to
over
do
quantity.
prior to this coming out? We had to watch and break down or review or whatever the 90s Spider-Man Spider-Verse episodes.
Yeah,
They're
Where
pretty
would we
good.
grab those from?
Disney
Plus, they're all
Plus.
on there.
They're on Disney Plus.
Yep. Yeah, but there's I think it was like Doctor Doom or somebody cracks open a portal and he ends up meeting Iron Man, Spider Man, and then like all of these others, and it's pretty cool. First time I'd ever seen it because I hadn't seen it. I wasn't really reading the Spider Man comics yet when I was watching that. I was still very much into Superman and Sonic the Hedgehog. Those were like the two major comics that I read when I was a kid.
So what are your So when is the official release date here? You said June 2nd.
June 2nd, yes.
What on a scale of on a Doug scale? What's your anticipation? Where are you at? Are you excited?
I'm
Where you
definitely
at?
excited, but it's so far away. And like I think Doug said earlier, we haven't seen enough. I mean, what we saw looks good and it looks like it's going to be quality, but we didn't really get enough. I want to see the spot animation. I want to, when we get a little more information, and that probably, we'll probably get a full trailer at some point and then maybe something else to announce that tickets are on sale. I think once we start seeing that, it'll be a little easier to gauge. But I mean, based on how much I love the first one, I'm still pretty excited. If we're going the Doug scale, Doug being, or the 5 being average
Doug.
excitement, I'm probably a 6 or a 7 right now.
What about you, Doug?
Yeah, I would say right now I'm kind of sitting at based on this trailer, I'm sitting at a 6 right now, just because I kind of want to see more. I don't really know where they're going with it. I was a little concerned when they had originally announced this project and said they were going to be splitting it into a part 1 and part 2, and it seems like they're still basically doing that, but not calling it part 1 and part 2. They're giving them different titles, but I doubt the story changed. So I don't know. I guess I'm excited for the idea that it might be as good as the original, but yeah, I'm gonna keep it at a 6 for now.
I'm with you guys. I'm thinking 6, just because I need more. I need to know more. But I do have faith. I always have faith initially after the first release, if it's a good one. Like I had, like we probably won't go into it too much, maybe until our special guest gets here. But Avatar, I liked the first one, and so I had faith that the second one would be good until I saw it. So I have faith that this one will be good.
Got the bucket.
And we'll see. Yeah, Doug got a 10. Wait, did you replace the other 10? Is that where the other 10 was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you know what? Our special guest loved Avatar, so when she gets here, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait to talk about that. Well, I will be right back, gentlemen.
Sounds
He needs
good.
an absolutely drink.
Oh, good call. Yeah, we did find out that the Spot is supposed to be the villain for both movies. So it is just like Doug was saying. Just they changed the titles, but it's still going to be part 1, part 2. I don't think we're going to get any closure at the end of this movie. We're going to have to wait till I can't remember when the next one's being released.
Like most likely it'll be a cliffhanger, like kind of like Empire Strikes Back,
Oh yeah, and then a third film,
Like
Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, March 29th, 2024.
So 1 a year. Oh, that's actually less than a year after this release.
Right, from June to March, so that's cool. Talking Doom Patrol Season 4, Episode 3, Nostalgia Patrol. You're probably asking me, Keith, why is it Nostalgia Patrol? Well, Vic, tries to hang out with his old buddies from like high school. So he kind of meets them. And it goes pretty well, but I mean, in the end, it was all kind of good. But they were like, "Man, you left us forever, dude. You know, we were mourning your mom, and you weren't there with us, and blah blah blah." And it was, I mean, honestly, this episode, while okay, was not my favorite Doom Patrol episode. I
Really?
mean, yeah, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but it just almost felt like filler for about the first 25 minutes of it. But then we see, you know, with all the things going on, Rita feeling a little depressed. She finds out there's a Rita Farr like film festival going on at this theater, retrospective. So she heads down there, and it's actually Dr. Janus. It's Janus, not J Nice, and who has the ability to like alter reality and all this stuff. So she like sucks her into the movie. Then the rest of the Doom Patrol show up, and they're kind of trying to help her get out and all this stuff. And there's a nice scene with Robot Man and Crazy Jane when they're in a closet hiding from this creepy kid. But for the most part, it's almost like it's because there's only 6 episodes this year, and it kind of totally stalled on the Buttpocalypse storyline. You know, we got a nice thing with Vic where he's talking to his old friends, and it's like they're all like, "Why would you give up your superpowers?" And then we have Rita feeling sorry for herself because they voted her out as leader, and then she gets trapped by Dr. Janus, and you know. But actually, I take that back because it's not filler because I almost forgot the main thing. I'm not very bright today. We find out that what Dr. Janus is doing is taking a lot of emotion out of Rita. Like every time she has one of these emotional scenes, it's like pulling her out of her. And at the end, we find out that it's to pull Immortus into this world. But for the whole time leading up to it, you have no idea that's going on. So it just seems like, you know, you got the Vic thing, and then we got the Rita thing. And then finally at the end, you know, basically drains the last of her emotions for Immortus's arrival, and then it ends. But
Well, I
Nice.
still can't wait to see it.
yeah, it has its moments. I mean, Doom Patrol's a strong show, so saying this isn't the best episode isn't necessarily a bad thing. Just not the best, in my opinion. Trying to think if there's anything else going on.
In the episode?
Yeah, and I can't think of anything else. Well, I did only
About
watch
the
it
show
once.
is like, is his first name Jason or Michael Bomer? What's his first name? I don't know what it is.
I think it's Michael.
Michael Bomer. He could be anybody. He's got that rap on 24/7. All it really is his voice. You know, he could just do voiceovers for this show. Same with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah. Well, the same thing with Pedro Pascal in The Mandalorian. There was times he wasn't
Yeah.
in the armor when they filled scenes. He just did the voice because he was off
In the
doing
first
other
season,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's been doing more in the suit shots. I think starting with the second season, wasn't it?
Yep.
See, my question is, you know, how much credit we gave him in that first season for being able to act without speaking and without us seeing his face. How much of that was actually him? You know?
That's a good question. And
I
some
think,
of
I thought Pedro Pascal said he only did the last episode of the season when he had to take his helmet off.
Otherwise, it was just
The stunt
voiceovers.
actor. Yeah.
Huh. Well, so the stunt actor deserves a lot of credit because he did a lot of conveying through body language what he was thinking.
God, yeah, I wish I knew what his... I feel bad. I honestly do not know what his name is.
yeah,
Probably
yeah.
Google search, you know, who was in the suit or whatever. Hold on. Let me Google that for you. I wonder, going back to, did we slip into tangent time for a minute there?
We did
Or,
a little bit, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering, going back to Doom Patrol, I haven't looked, but are all of the other YouTube channels that do like Easter eggs and breakdowns and everything like your
No.
Screen Rant, Screen Crushes, so they're ignoring this too? Really? Well, that's kind of a shame. I figured a show like this would be chock full of Easter eggs for, like the Ryan Airy types to be like, and here's 800 Easter eggs that I found, and look at my dog and stuff.
I don't think, it's funny because I still remember, speaking of Screen Crush, they did, I don't know if you guys watched Star Trek, but Picard season 2 was last year, and he did a breakdown of the first episode. And then he's like, he went on Twitter and said, yeah, I'm not doing it anymore. It really didn't get the views we need. It's not worth the effort, basically. So I wonder if this is the same sort of thing. Like, they like the show, but putting in the effort to do all that,
views,
it's not worth it.
So when it's your business, like, if that's the thing that's bringing in the money, it's your paycheck. Then I guess you gotta be very careful with what you're putting up. It can't always be about what you like. Unfortunately, it isn't getting.
You gotta gauge what the people want to hear. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Because that's like he did a couple breakdowns for Willow, and I don't think he's done a third one. So I wonder.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that either.
Yeah, which is probably a reason we shouldn't bring up Avatar, because actually, but it would be something to talk to Sierra about when she gets here. But when I went last night, guess how packed that theater was?
How packed?
It was dead, wasn't
Let me do
it?
that again. How packed was it?
There were 3 of us in the back row, and then there was 3 other people scattered throughout the theater.
Oh.
This is the Sunday night of the weekend of its release.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw the weekend totals. It was originally, they said it's probably going to bring in like 185 million. It made 134 million. So it was way off its estimations. But it did make worldwide like 475 million.
Yeah.
But it cost 460 million to make.
Oh, no.
And then you figure they always say it's double that for the marketing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's right. He's got to make at least $1 billion on this movie to probably even guarantee another movie. you know what I mean?
Well, 3's already filmed, so I think we're going to get 3 no matter what. But you're right. 3 may be the end of it. No.
Well, they're not going to pull a a Warner.
No, because they know
from
that.
From what I heard, they had a story for all the next 4 movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they retroactively engineered it so that each movie could have a definite ending. It wouldn't have to lead into the next movie if, like, the movies aren't doing well. They could just end them, and it wouldn't be a cliffhanger. So I don't know how they would decide which ending to put in, or even if it is a different ending, but probably if it doesn't make as much as they project, like if he wants $2 billion, if that's an actual projection and he doesn't make it, I could see them like saying after, all right, with 3 we'll just have the ending and that'll be it. We won't have to leave him with a cliffhanger, But it's a better than putting $1 billion into a movie like Part 4 per se that doesn't, that isn't expected to even make that back.
Real Bad Brad says, "Hi guys."
Bad Brad,
hello.
Good to have you with us today, sir. Welcome to the chat. We're currently just talking about Doom Patrol. We're on a little tangent time, talking about Avatar. I don't know if you've seen Avatar.
Avatar 2.
Yeah, Avatar 2. Avatar: The Way of Water. Yes.
I mean, if you're talking with Keith, Keith didn't see Avatar 1 until last year. So
it was before that. I saw it a few years ago.
So having seen Avatar 1 so recently, did that make Avatar 2 better or worse?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't like the first one, and this one was almost, it felt like the same movie to me, so it was, probably hurt it.
many of the same plot points.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just with different characters.
Oh, I meant to tell you. I was gonna save it for when Sierra came on, but figure might as well say it now. I can share it with her later on. But social media is throwing a temper tantrum, basically saying that if you say that you don't like the new Avatar movie, you're only saying it because that's what's the trendy thing to do right now, and you're not giving it a chance.
Yeah, because people don't have their own minds anymore. We just follow what everyone else says, so that
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that sounds rather interesting.
It's the I don't know how many years it's been going on now, but that's just like if a big movie doesn't succeed, they blame it on the fans, and it's ridiculous.
Well, it seemed like that's what. Oh my gosh, the director. Why is his name gone?
James Cameron.
James Cameron. Thank you. It seemed like that's what James Cameron was almost like preemptively setting up, like almost like he knew fans wouldn't like this. It's like, well, everybody likes your Avengers Endgame, and you've got Thanos, and so the CGI, but no people aren't gonna look upon my true art, and
Yeah, I mean, we were only waiting for Thanos for like 9 years. He'd only been built up for 9 years. I mean, there was 13 years between the Avatar movies, but there's no build up. No one was sitting there waiting for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there were people who were waiting for it. There's huge fans, but
there were two people that were. I'm sure.
Yeah.
but both of them saw it opening night.
And like Dave said, he sees it Sunday night and it's an empty theater. That's never a good sign for a movie because what they need is legs. They, like these movies that, like even Wakanda Forever. I mean, it led the box office for like 5 weeks. Even though there wasn't a lot of competition, it was still bringing people in. I don't know if this movie has it. For one, Gunny said they made all 3 already before he died. They did make part 3 already, which I don't know if you guys saw this rumor. I don't know if I told you. Supposedly, Avatar 3 has a 9-hour cut right now. That James Cameron.
That is unnecessary.
You make it into a miniseries, but still, who would watch it?
What did I say about this second movie? I felt like it could have been a TV show. Like, there were so many, like, you talk about us going on tangent time. That movie went on so many tangent times where they're playing in the water. I'm like, is this a plot now? Is this war? Are we not doing the war thing? Is that not happening anymore? Like, what is going on?
I think that whole war, them coming after him was just a backstory. Because they just wanted to show.
Present.
I mean, you look at the first Avatar, they spent so much time him learning the Na'vi way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they just wanted to do that again. And that's what they did. They took his kids and had them learn the way of water, right? So, and then them being chased or being hunted by that was the background story.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just needed something to make it interesting at the end. And so, they caught him. And they're, some of the jokes were a little misplaced, like the one where she gets caught and they tie her up again. She says, "I can't believe I'm tied up again." I'm sure they were looking for a laugh on that, but it was just like, okay. I see what you're doing, but okay.
I'm
whatever.
laughing now because it's funny that.
Well,
Excuse me, that was probably the expectation, but yeah, I didn't even catch that in the theater.
Yeah.
And
well, I'd see it twice.
We talked about it on our spoiler-free review. There's a very emotional scene at the end of that movie, and I felt nothing. And I cry at Pixar movies at this point in my life. I take the kids to see Pixar movies, man. It's a little sad, and I'm like, okay, don't look at me, kids.
Wait, we can spoil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can spoil
okay.
about it.
You're talking about when his son died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The son that we knew for like all of half an hour.
Yeah, they tried to build like a story for him and build this stuff up, but I didn't connect to it at all.
No, they actually
Real bad
spent more
brand
screen
also
time
cries
with.
at Pixar movies.
They spent more screen time with the younger son than with the older son. So like, I was sitting there like, and also okay, Jesus, do I say okay? Get rid of cancel me. They looked alike. They looked the same. I couldn't tell the difference between the two boys half the time.
Mateum was taller. that's about the only difference.
So when they were apart, you couldn't tell which one was taller.
Right. So
Right.
so when one of them had died, I'm like, wait, which one died? So I know which one I should care about. I guess. And yeah, same thing. Like I guess I wasn't really feeling any emotions over it. But I tell you what, I was bawling my eyes out in the beginning of Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, and that's like because you have this emotional attachment to, these characters. And
Chadwick Boseman, yeah.
Real Bad Brad, thank you for subscribing. We do appreciate that
Nice.
with your Prime. That's always It's always nice.
Thank you, sir. That's
And
awesome.
there was like
Appreciate
nothing. I really, honestly felt absolutely nothing throughout that whole movie, except at times when I was like, "Wow, that's really well done." Like when they're underwater, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's really well." Then I'm like, "Hey, this whole scene is just to show off their underwater stuff. There's nothing. The plot's not moving forward. They're just swimming around." And
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 to me,
someone
it was
gave an
so
absolutely.
simple.
Someone
Like,
cashed in
the
Infinity Stones.
the only plot point was that they were being chased. That was the whole plot. And
Yeah.
why was it so important? Like, I know why it was important to the general, but why was it important to the rest of the landing party? Everyone from Earth, that they catch Sully. Nothing.
I think they were
It was just a
treating-
personal vendetta.
They're doing what a lot of TV shows and movies do, where they're treating war like a chess game. And if you... Oh, should we wait a minute?
Is he all right?
Okay. Looks like we are getting ready to introduce our special guest. I should have made a special guest logo thingy. Ah,
You should have.
darn it. Well, fire me later.
And I should have got a Avatar: The Way of Water photo for. I'm trying to get one now.
Type something up in Comic Sans real quick on a white background. With really bad recorder music. The tune from I think I've actually seen that on YouTube. Somebody doing the tune from Titanic, but playing it on a recorder really poorly.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh wait, guys. Here's our special guest, Sierra.
It's a special guest. All right.
Yay!
We're talking about Avatar, and when I saw it with Sierra again last night, you just mentioned something about Titanic, and
Yeah.
that's another thing. You know how?
He repeats. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, it's all fine.
No, he likes to repeat what he does.
Yeah, he did Titanic, and there's a part where their boat's flipping over, and they're all
Yeah.
trying to survive underwater. It was all
Yeah.
Titanic, and then all the what do they call those things? I don't know. Whatever the machinery that they use, that's from Aliens. You know,
Yep.
when they're forklifts or whatever in the human form.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all from Aliens. So he just incorporates it movie to movie. But Sierra here loved it, and
Yeah.
I'm putting it
Yeah.
up for adoption tomorrow.
No, I thought it was
Good.
good. I thought it was. I understand what he's doing because
Camera's up there.
what he's doing is he's setting up. He said he was gonna after this one he was gonna release every 2 years he was gonna release an Avatar movie. So he's setting up like a chronicle type thing. So this movie was just to get the ball rolling. And it's not going to make as big of an impact as the first one because the first one was its own experience.
Well, that's what I mean.
It was the first of its kind. It's not
Was
it's
it
not
though?
going to be the same. Yeah, well, yeah.
It was the same story as the first
It
one.
was the three, yeah, not kind of, where they did have to learn, the ways of the water, but it was a little different. I like seeing the family aspect of Avatar. I like
But you-
seeing it. He was. Go ahead.
But it's what I was talking about earlier. When they set it up like a Pixar movie, I've cried at Pixar movies because they set this up so well. When the son died in this movie, I was like seriously like looking down. Oh damn, I'm out of popcorn. I felt nothing. And
Oh no, I
as
cried.
as a dad, I usually any sad part in a movie now, I'm like, oh man, I better hide my face. But this one, it was nothing. I was like, I could care less about these characters, and once again, I blame James Cameron because he really didn't do enough. He was more worried about showing off the special effects than he was really building up these characters and making them something that I cared about personally. Now, it's all subjective, and so,
Yeah, no, so I get what you're saying where you have an idea of where you think he's coming from, like what he's trying to set up, what he's trying to do, but if that's the case, if he's trying to set this up to, then put out his magnum opus, which would be the third movie, I don't think you needed 3 hours to do that.
No.
There's a lot
No, I
that
don't think you
probably
need 3
didn't need to stay in this movie to if that was the goal, in fact, to show off how far the effects have come, to, you know, pull 3D movies kicking and screaming out of the dumpster heap that we left them in, so we all have to put on those damn glasses again. If it was to, you know, again set up this third or possibly fourth movie as well, considering Keith said that the original cut of the third movie was 9 hours.
Currently is 9 hours.
Yeah, they're done filming it.
So, you know, yeah, if that is his goal, I think there are better ways that it could have been done. Really, I think it would have made more sense, in my opinion, to have released this movie as maybe a series, because there were so many segments of the movie that didn't feel like they fit in the overall story. Like, they felt like if I was watching this like on Netflix or something, it felt like it would have been an episode that I would have watched before, you know, getting up, going to the bathroom, and coming back for the next episode of, okay, now they're playing in the water. Oh, in this episode, we're becoming friends with alien whales. And in this episode, we're getting the payoff from the becoming friends with the alien whales to see the alien whalers, the people hunting them. And so that's how it felt. Like, it seemed like things didn't quite fit. Like, the flow was off, I guess. That's what I'm trying to get at. The flow didn't feel right.
And I just want to say...
It felt choppy. It felt choppy.
To me, yeah.
To you? Yeah.
Yeah, because,
You know,
okay, so
bother me
you
about
start
it.
off where it's like, hey, what's going on? My name's Jake. And, you know, crazy stuff that's been happening, bro. Got a family now. Got these kids. Even adopted some. Grown some in a pod. But that's life. Uh-oh, here's a war.
I just want to say, Real Bad Brad said, "Is it true he is going to film a real nuke test for a movie?" No, not James Cameron. That is actually Christopher Nolan, who said in Oppenheimer, they show it, and it wasn't special effects.
Yeah.
I'm like, so he did a nuke? He set off a nuke somewhere?
Right. I'm sure some government was just like, yeah, go ahead, set off a nuke. It's cool.
Let's do it. It's for a movie. Do
Yeah, it's
it.
for a movie, man. Who cares?
Wait, you're Christopher Nolan? Yeah, go ahead, dude. There's lots of desert. We don't give a shit.
Nuke Vegas. We're not using that anymore.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I live there. No problem.
That's why you said it.
While you're here, Sierra. We wouldn't do it while you're there.
Hopefully. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that. Yeah.
Well, you know, it didn't make any sense in that plot. That spider we are spoiling it now, so it's okay. That spider saves the colonel. That makes no sense at all. He was defeated. He was dead if he left him alone. He obviously, up to that point in the movie, did not like him, right?
Well,
so he takes one look at him and thinks, "Okay, I'll bring him up." That just made no sense.
Yes and no. His
Like, this
motivation.
isn't who I am. I'm not going to leave him for dead because it's not who I am. But I don't think they did a good job at developing his story.
No,
I
they did not.
I didn't like him in the movie. I didn't care. He could be there. He could have not been there. That didn't matter.
Didn't Jake at one point call him more like a pet, like a feral cat or something?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah, I feel like that was what they were. They did that. If that was this is the wild animal of the of the movie. They got that down pat, because I didn't understand what his motivations were. Where, you know, they catch him, and all of a sudden he's just hanging out, chilling with them. Like, okay, yeah, we'll be buddies. I'll chuckle at your not understanding how to live in the jungle, and, you know, stuff like that.
And
Well,
then
no, remember he put a bomb in his face mask, so if he left, man, he was
Yeah.
going to die.
yeah, that was
Right.
that was stupid too. But when he escaped, when they captured the other kids towards the end of the movie, and he escaped from the bridge, came down there and tried to help them, and they just said, "All right, just take him back to the bridge."
Yeah,
And they didn't lock him down or nothing, so he went back in and smashed up the bridge.
And handcuff
Like,
him.
why would you not? If it were you, wouldn't you want that kid in handcuffs or something?
Yeah.
It'd be so dangerous.
Because, like, okay, remind me, but when they captured him, weren't they torturing him because he was technically a prisoner?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they were.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And Real Bad Brad says, in my opinion, number one was just Dances with Wolves in Space. I've also heard it's Pocahontas in space. So
See, that's exactly what.
Yeah, I've
my
heard
boyfriend
Pocahontas.
said, too. That's
It was
exactly
also
what-
Ferngully in space.
I've never seen Fern Gully.
Fern
Now
Gully,
I don't want
yeah.
to.
That's a good
Fern
movie,
Gully.
though.
See, okay, now Fern Gully was good. It had Raffi in it.
I do have a theory though, even though we all, except for Sierra,
Yeah.
didn't like this movie. I do have a theory that the little kid, that Sigourney Weaver was playing the teenager.
She is AWOL.
I think she is AWA. She's going to turn out to be AWA in their 5-movie scope, if we even get to it. But I think she's going to turn out to be. It's a real, like.
She's my favorite character.
It's a real. Well,
Yeah.
she's supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
It's a real Bible type story where like
Oh,
Iowa
so like
is God.
she gave birth to her own clone or something?
Yes,
Okay. I could see that.
and then she
because-
was able to control all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Underwater.
The fireflies
I think she's. Yeah, she's going to turn out to be Iowa.
She's just a very high set Shaw woman is what she is.
A Shaw woman. Yeah,
Shaw
like
woman.
they're witch doctor or whatever they
Yeah.
call him.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, and that might be a little more interesting if they would have delved into that a little bit more of, the history of these people or anything else just besides, we've got to learn the ways of the water. Don't go with that whale. He's by itself. He murders other whales. No, you just don't know him. It was so many things that was recycled from so many other movies. It just was, I felt like nothing new was brought up in this outside of the amazing
Yeah.
visual effects.
But in this day and age, there's only so many cliches you can go through.
They've all been used.
They've all been used.
I think Aang will be in the next one.
God, I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Hopefully Katara. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what
Oh,
the way of
it'll
the
be really be
wind,
Way of the Water then.
the way of the wind.
Wait, I was thinking that it looks like they're gonna go the way of the elements, like because water, air, they're forest
We
people
were
in
saying
the
that
air,
in the theater.
and now there's water. But then again, in the first one they dealt with earth as well. He didn't learn anything, like he didn't miss out on anything when it came to earth.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
they
they
didn't get
already
the
covered-
unobtainium.
Yeah, whatever they
Yeah.
called it this time around. I don't know. I never caught what they called it.
It's
Oh,
the
they were trying to
peel
get the brain fluid from the whales.
Yeah, but they had a name for it.
I don't know what it is.
But yeah, it's supposed to stop human aging completely. I'm
Which-
like, okay,
Sure.
there's another unobtainium.
Yeah.
That's just.
I mean, we knew when we committed to the first one. If they made a second one, we knew we'd come back to the same type of situation, though, like where, they were gonna come back. There was no way that the humans were gonna stay away, especially when he said there was gonna be a second movie. You could have put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, what
I
else?
mean, but how else could you construct the story, because we already knew that was the reason they were gonna come back. So it's gonna look like it repeats the first one,
I don't know. They could have come up with an original idea. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Well, and once again, when we are sitting in the 9-hour part 3, we'll probably get a lot more.
We got a whole bunch of different perspectives on that one.
One of the things.
I thought it was good.
I think this movie, the next one, will be released in September because it's Earth, Wind, and Fire. All
Nice.
right, everybody got that joke. All right.
Do you remember?
One of the things
Yeah,
that I was wondering, I brought this up while we were still sitting in the theater, but we haven't discussed it since then. Speaking of the idea that they may explore other elements, Way of the Water, maybe there might be a form of Navi that developed like wings or something, and they glide around and fly or something. The one thing that I was having trouble wrapping my head around was the fact that these were clearly... There was an evolutionary split at some point with the Navi, where the ones who lived in the water, they developed like thicker tails that allowed them to maneuver in the water easier. They also had these like almost fin like things. They were able to breathe under the water for a lot longer. So things like that, and they were the Navi of the woods, the forest, I guess. They were attempting to adapt as best as they could, but there was clearly an evolutionary divide. How were they able to understand each other? Had they somehow still developed the same language that entire time? Like, that was the one thing that
No, they all spoke English.
No, they were in the. They just didn't show the like the training montage or nothing, but they
No, they didn't.
taught them the language.
They didn't give a montage because they
Nothing.
just played the whole damn thing.
Oh,
What?
wait, they were speaking
They
a different
didn't
language?
show them. Yeah, they said it in the beginning. They said we're going to teach you our ways. Like when they first got to the islands, they were speaking the other language, and yeah, we're going to teach you our ways. You're going to live here, and we're going to hide you. We're going to teach you how to swim like us, how to talk like us, all that stuff. They just didn't give it a training montage, and they went straight, like, the scenes went...
And I missed that. That's my fault. I was under the assumption that both groups spoke the same language on that planet.
No.
The
not
Na'vi
English,
language?
It was just somewhat understood, but no, they didn't
that's the-
speak English. They just put it in English.
That's
And
one
I
of the
got
other.
So we could understand.
That's one of the other plot parallels. That's exactly what Sully did with Neytiri in the first movie. Exactly.
What?
Is he had to go there and learn their ways and their language and everything. And his kids went through the exact same thing in this movie.
I don't think, but this movie isn't about him coming in or about them coming in and learning about
That's
the
all it was.
way of the water. No, it wasn't. It was that, but it was more based around the fact that he had to hide from them, and he knew that they were coming back. So this started a whole different
That's
plot.
a
This
backstory.
is, yeah, sure, but they didn't
The
really
real story is Sully's an alcoholic. All right.
Yeah. But they didn't get in depth with the training really, because we would have seen them practicing the language. They were just showing. They're mostly honing in on Sigourney Weaver's character with the
I wish
AWOL
they
thing.
focused more on
That
that. She
made
was
me want to
probably-
watch the third one.
She
But,
was, out of all the characters, in my opinion, she was the most interesting.
Yeah, but like throughout the whole movie, like they could only go through so many characters and make you attached to so many characters, so that's where I think they failed. But I was upset when the son died. I was upset when they did what they did with the whales. I think they were just showing how the difference between what they can do to the air people versus what they can do to the water.
The Sky People.
The sky people.
The sky
What the sky people can do to each clan. So I don't think this was another storytelling of him having to learn the ways and stuff like that. I
That's
don't think it was
nuts.
that.
I feel like we watched two different movies. Because that's what I saw, and you saw it completely different. That's
You
crazy.
just saw it in more depth because you also got to consider all the bases that every other movie's ever pulled. So it's gonna look like you've seen it before, like they're not original, but it's actually the story's actually pretty original. I think.
See, I
Uh,
didn't think it was very original at all. Everything they did had been pulled from other things, and I had a point. Now I forgot it. Darn it! What were we talking about?
Well, it doesn't help that we've been around since, the early 1900s, and we're actually secretly haunting this place. And
And yes,
we were
real
talking
bad,
about
Brad.
how-
The whales. This is definitely Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home. Oh, I remember what my point
the
was.
worst of the Star Trek movies.
No, Star Trek 1 was with they're in that cloud. I fell asleep during that movie.
Major.
But I remember my point. One of the things they make the sky people so one-dimensional. They're just pure evil. They just want to
Yeah.
destroy the land and kill the whales so they can get $80 million worth of young juice. It's like I just didn't buy it.
sort of, they almost made them more than one-dimensional. When they came back and they announced their new reason for coming back, that, look, Earth is dying. They were like this close to basically saying, here's the deal. There's nothing left for us on Earth. We are colonizing this planet. It's the only way that our people can survive. If they would have kept going down that route, they did not need to go with the we want to harvest whale brain juice thing. They would have just kept with the we have nowhere else to go. We are going to. It would have made them more than just one-dimensional mustache twirling, evil bad guys. It would have been like, on one hand, yes, it's still wrong. What they're doing is wrong. We can see that, but from their point of view, you can understand. For the purpose of survival, you get why they're there. And if they would have kept tugging at that thread, I think it would have made them more interesting villains.
Especially if they would have said, hey, they know they're peaceful people, so we want to come and be with you. Instead, it's like they do that, then they're like, we're killing whales, we're sending this madman out after our old guy, we want to murder him, we'll burn anything we see to get it. I was just like,
And the fact that they had to bring back...
mean.
The fact they had to bring back, what's his name, the corporal or general or whatever he was.
Yeah, the colonel.
Colonel, yes. In fact, they brought him back, and he was the primary antagonist, and his only goal was revenge, even though it wasn't his. Because he wasn't actually, he was just the memories of the guy, so I don't know.
Right.
He was a copy of the brain.
Yeah, he was a copy of the
But he didn't remember his death,
Yeah, but it became him.
It became...
He became the Avatar, really. Like, his personality carried along with him, which involves emotions and stuff, so...
I mean, that's why I didn't... What Doug just said there, they were so one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, you guys... I wasn't in the military.
They were almost there.
Did you guys know people in the military who were just like, get some with everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yes,
hey,
actually, that is...
kill somebody?
Yes, so much so, yes.
Trust me, there's people in the military that if the government says, you know what, we hate Canadians now, they'd be like, let me at them! I'm taking the gun up there.
America!
Oh, man.
America!
See, that really turns me off. I wanted all those people dead when they were acting like that,
Yeah,
and that girl they had there shooting the whales, and she was like, yeah, we got him. And I'm like, it's a whale. It's defenseless. It's not trying to hurt you, and you're so excited about killing it. What the is wrong with you?
Okay, so a real quick tangent time from our tangent time. Something that I don't know if a whole lot of people understand about what they do to people in the military. So not everybody goes in like that. Not everybody goes in joining the military and they're all, hard charging, ready to munch down on crayons and do whatever, Daddy America says to do. A lot of them are just 18-year-old kids fresh out of high school that don't really know what they're doing with their life. They're not really old enough to make coherent decisions. But what the military does best is they're very good at brainwashing you in order to get you to think the way they want you to think. They kind of mold you into being able to follow orders and do everything they tell you to do and feel good about wanting to do that. So they make you feel like you're the one making the decision when you're not. You have no control.
It's little things in boot camp. Like, you couldn't call a pen a pen. It was an ink stick. You couldn't call your flashlight a flashlight. It was a moonbeam. And they try to break you down and bring you back up.
We call them a torch.
Oh, we call them moonbeams.
That's the difference between the Army and the Marines, right there.
Why?
Torch and moonbeams.
I don't understand the code names for them. Why?
It's just so you relearn stuff. So and a reason to beat you when you say it wrong the first couple times.
Yeah,
you're like, hey, I just need to grab my pen.
It's meant to break you down and make you part of this new club. And you have to use all the special language, all the special code words. You have to tell time different. You're basically different from regular people to the point where when you're in the military and you're talking about people outside of the military, it's almost like they're others. It's, oh yeah, civilians, oh, civvies, that's how civvies act. And, but we're the military. It's what they do to you. It's what they do to your brain to make you think that you're so much different from everybody else just because you now speak in a coded language. You wear stupid uniforms.
Makes sense. Sad. Makes sense.
Well, do we want to go any more on Avatar, or do we want to move on? You got anything else to say?
I just think Avatar was a really good movie, and I gave it like a...
let's get her rating. Does she understand the Doug scale?
Yeah, do you understand the Doug? 5 is average.
Mm-hmm.
She just gave it a 7. Is that going to stick?
Yep.
7.
7 out of 10?
7.5.
Yeah,
okay.
I liked it. I like seeing the family together. I like seeing Natiri go crazy. I like that.
She's the one person you don't want to mess with.
I really like the underwater effects. I loved it. I like the vibe of the underwater, the fish and all the alien fish and stuff. I don't know if you guys have heard of Subnautica, but it's an awesome game, and that's what
I've played Subnautica.
They're not alien fish on Pandora.
Yeah.
They're just fish. You can't call them fish.
Well, I like the alien fish, the fish. I liked them. They were dope. It was a good vibe. I felt good in the theater when I watched it.
I'm glad you like it.
The effects on their faces, they actually looked like a mixture of them. That was cool too. I enjoyed myself.
Hey, you don't have to defend it. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did a lot. Thanks.
We don't want to be a monolith. We want differing views.
Yeah, that's exactly why you're here. We want different, because all of us felt the same. So people might be like, "Yeah, they're all down on it. I want to hear a positive opinion."
Yeah, bunch of boomers hated Avatar too. What is?
God.
I understand.
I also
Hey.
really liked the movie. Hi.
She did. She really liked the movie. She
I
told me.
really liked the movie, and I cried 3 times.
What did you rate it?
What did you cry at?
I cried at the whale story,
Okay.
and I cried at the end, and I forgot the second time I cried. But yeah, those are
Did you
the
cry when the whale died?
no.
No. Hard
Okay.
is.
It's
nails.
because she wanted that brain juice.
So on the
Secretly.
on the Doug scale, with 5 being average, 1 to 10, what would you rate Avatar: The Way of Water?
Like an 8.5.
8.5.
I liked it a lot.
See,
so
it's
high.
It's different opinions in this.
Oh,
house.
it was when the brother died. That's the
Yeah,
second time I
that's
cried. When the
sad.
brother died. That was so sad. I didn't want to I literally did not believe that he died until the end of the movie. I was like, no, they're gonna
They're
gonna
gonna bring
find
it
some way, yeah. Because you know that girl, I forgot her name, but she can control
Awa.
Awa. I thought she was gonna like do something to bring him back, and I'm like, they got this.
See, I thought they were going to use the whale brain juice to bring him back. I thought for sure he was coming back by the end of the movie too.
That would've been
because
smart.
They kind of like said something about that, and then that's it. They're like, this is worth so much. This is what does everything. All right,
We're out of here.
Didn't mention it again.
Man, we got a party in here.
Yeah.
I got a cat and two
I'm
dogs.
gonna let you guys talk about Doom Patrol because I don't know nothing about it.
We're
right,
done
well,
with Doom
we're-
Patrol. We're going to talk James
Oh.
Gunn and DCU.
Oh, okay.
More things I don't know about, but
I
I
didn't
wanted
know
to
that.
say something about the movie. I came in here. I was
Yeah,
like,
she heard us out there. She's like, I'm not gonna let them slam that movie, man.
Yeah,
Ah,
well,
just-
amazing.
It's good. You should defend your sister.
All right.
Do you have Almost Famous on DVD?
I don't think so.
Well, thanks for joining
Bye.
us.
No problem. Have a good rest of your cast, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'll take the cat too.
Okay, now in the never-ending DCU saga, since James Gunn has taken over, we got a huge, I don't know if a huge story yesterday, but My Time to Shine, who we're going to talk a lot about tonight. They're not a new scooper per se. They've been around for a while. They got a pretty good track record of being accurate. He basically came out and said, everybody's gone except for Jason Momoa, who's going to be a new character. We all assume Lobo. He didn't say it. And then Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad. So that was going on. And right after that happened, James Gunn followed up a tweet, which you'll be seeing on your screen now, where he basically said, is this true? It's interesting to see how Peacemaker and Suicide Squad characters live on, but the others don't, particularly when they have all interacted together. And James Gunn responded, I keep seeing posts with this untruth theory. We're not recasting everyone except the Suicide Squad.
I love James Gunn.
I know.
He stops that shit in its tracks, man.
And he's vague
brilliant.
enough that we don't really know what he's talking about. Because he could be talking everyone's being recast. Or he's saying, we're keeping the actors from the Suicide Squad and maybe, Gal Gadot, maybe, I don't know who else they could keep. Because we know Henry Cavill's not coming back because he wants a younger Superman. We know Ben Affleck isn't coming back, but he may direct a film.
No.
I know. Rumor Jason Momoa is going to play Lobo. Ray Fisher doesn't sound like he wants to come back. He knows that Gunn and Josh Whedon were friends, so I don't think he wants anything to do with him. So I honestly don't even know who else would come back. But once again, it could be nobody. I mean, that would be pretty nuts that at the end of Suicide Squad or Peacemaker season 2, it's like, okay, it's a full reboot, including these characters. And he just wipes them all out.
Mm-hmm.
At some level, you would have to guess that 90% of them are gone. I mean, if you're going to get a fresh start, you got to get fresh actors.
And honestly, it would make the most sense. Do a complete reboot. You don't want any lingeringness from, anything that came out before. Do a fresh reboot. Start number one. He even came out and debunked, I think we talked about it last week, there was a rumor that Robert Pattinson was going to be the DCU Batman. He came out and said, nope, not true. Batman's going to be a big part of the DCU, but it's not Robert Pattinson's. So it sounds like that whole, the Matt Reeves Batman is in another corner and he's going to get his own. So, Dave's absolutely right. It's nice that he comes out and debunks all this stuff and lets everybody know, because a lot of these scoopers, while some of them do have inside sources, they still make up shit about everything else. Their inside source may tell them, oh, this or that, and then they go, oh, I know everything about everything going on with every movie. The one scooper I really like, we've talked about, is Murphy's Multiverse with Charles Murphy, because he's always like, people will be like, when's the trailer coming out? He goes, I have no idea. I don't know that stuff. I don't get that stuff. He gets casting stuff, and he gets plot points from movies. And anything else, he's like, my source doesn't know that stuff. He's not part of marketing. He doesn't know when trailers are dropping. And half these other guys are always like, this is dropping this day, and it never shows up. So it's nice that Gunn comes out and says, no, this is not accurate. But he doesn't tell you what is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So we can still theorize, okay, who stays, who goes. I mean, as much as I liked Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, she's not the greatest actress that ever did, but she was good in this. I mean, I wouldn't be sad seeing her go. She was fine. I like Zachary Levi as Shazam. If he doesn't stick around, I'm fine with that also. Mm-hmm. The Rock, no longer Black Adam. Okay, I'm not going to cry. Honestly, none of those.
He unfollowed DC Universe or Warner Brothers Media.
Oh, did he?
No,
Yeah.
According to him, he came back. It's funny because he jumped on Twitter to rebunk that too. Brandon Davis.
Rebut.
Oh, I said debunk. I think. I don't know.
Debunk and rebut. You mixed them together.
Yeah. Brandon Davis had said that he did it. He said he unfollowed Black Adam's Instagram and Warner Brothers Entertainment Instagram. And he came out and said, I'd never followed him in the first place.
No.
Okay.
So, well, that's the funny thing. Sometimes it breaks out into a huge story when they're like, two things happen. Someone follows somebody, like they're like, oh my God, Haley Stanfield just followed Jeremy Renner. So we know she's going to be Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series. Obviously, this was a while ago. But they're always like looking, oh, so-and-so just followed this movie. Like, oh my God, so-and-so just followed James Cameron. They're going to be in Avatar 3. And then it's also the opposite when you find out, oh, so-and-so stopped following, oh my God, I can't think of the guy who did Baby Driver and was going to direct Ant-Man. I can't think of his name. Edgar
Kevin
Wright.
I don't remember.
No, Edgar Wright. Kevin Spacey. But
He was
We
a
don't
baby
talk about
driver.
Kevin Spacey anymore.
like when a director unfollows a studio, they're all of a sudden like, oh, he was going to direct this and now he's out. And it's just, it makes for good talk. But it's really nothing more than that. I think, as much as The Rock tried to use Henry Cavill and his movie to probably make a power play at Warner Brothers for DC stuff, I don't think he's a bad dude. I don't think, he's...
No, he tried to pull a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool,
Yeah,
and it didn't work out the same way. That's all.
yep.
I just don't think he's as good of an actor. Like, no, that's not the right word. He was invested and he really loved the character and he really wanted to play it, but he didn't quite have the same acting chops, I think, for that type of character that Ryan Reynolds did. Also, it didn't help that Ryan Reynolds has played both comedic roles and serious roles prior to doing that. The Rock has mostly done, Fast and Furious movies and then Jumanji?
Yeah, Fast and Furious. Yeah, he's mostly done action movies and...
Mm-hmm.
He did some kid movie where he was a football player and he had a kid.
But somebody had made a joke prior to Black Adam coming out saying, if you go back and you look at a lot of the movies that he's in, he pretty much plays the same character. He has the same tone in his voice, and he hasn't really grown as an actor very much. He hasn't expanded on or shown what else he can do. He hasn't really broken down and showed emotion in a role, or he hasn't he hasn't really expanded beyond just being The Rock in most of the roles that he's been in.
You talk about Ryan Reynolds having range. You ever see Smoking Aces? That's one of my favorite movies.
Yep.
He's not funny at all. Well, he does have funny lines, but it's not a comedic role at all.
Mm-mm.
Very well done.
I agree.
Which is what you're saying. I don't think The Rock could have pulled something like that off. It would have been too different for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's more of a 90s action hero type,
Yes.
which is why Black Adam was basically a 90s action film.
Yeah.
Like I had said when we were doing our review of that, one of the things that kept taking me out of that movie was every time he would do one of these action scenes where Black Adam was doing something exciting, he would get this big dumb grin on his face because you knew that he was enjoying it, and that's fine to enjoy it, but if you're trying to keep us invested in the fact that you are this character, you can't break character like that.
Yeah.
You can't be like, guys, I'm shooting
He's not
lightning. Isn't this awesome? Oh my god, are you having as much fun as I am? Let me look into the camera.
Right, he's not the fourth wall break type of character.
Black Adam
You know,
is supposed to be, yeah, no.
yeah, not at all. Well, you think, when you say smiling like that, Michael Keaton, if you look at him, he's smiling when he's wearing the bat suit because he thought it was ridiculous. But people still love him as Batman.
Oh my god. I'm sorry.
I mean, you can go back and watch a few scenes, and he's just sitting there smiling when people are talking to him. He's just like got this big old grin on his face.
I love Michael Keaton. He's so great.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton is a tremendous actor, though. I mean, he, much like Ryan Reynolds, he's done it all too. He was, and think about it, when he was announced as Batman, Doug, you're probably too young to remember when he was announced as Batman. It was the same thing
I
as
remember.
we got for so many people. Were like, he's a comedy actor.
That was
He can't be
89,
Batman.
right?
The movie came out in '89.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been too young to understand that announcement. I was born in '85, so
I was working at Brighton Cinema that summer when that came out. So I saw the ending of that movie I don't know, probably 80 times, because you have to be in a theater so you can clean it out. And I saw the ending of that and Lethal Weapon 2 probably 100 times each.
my parents had a track record of allowing me to see movies that probably weren't appropriate. Actually, not even just my parents, like my aunts and cousins and stuff did too. Like, by the time I was 6, I had seen both the Terminator movies, I'd seen 3 RoboCop movies, the Ninja Turtles movie, Ghostbusters, and yeah, I'd seen Batman and Batman Returns. That was one with Catwoman and Penguin.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw
Man,
both
that
of those when
RoboCop-
they came out.
The first 5 minutes of the RoboCop movie were really brutal. They let you watch that?
Yep.
All right. He was prepared for violence his whole life.
Yeah.
But that
Here,
is where
sit
the,
down.
that
Watch,
70s
I
show
don't
came
know,
from.
Robot Cop, whatever. Stick it in. Leave Mom alone.
Sounds like it'll be good for Doug to learn about authority.
All cops are bastards.
I knew it. All right,
I
next.
guess we were talking about James Gunn.
We were,
So
but-
go on.
Oh, yeah.
Next on our list, once again, My Time to Shine has another scoop. Once again, this is rumor only. Nothing has been confirmed. That Silver Surfer is going to be in the MCU Fantastic Four movie. He says Galactus will not be in it. He'll be hinted at.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Which,
And who will play him? Who of the 17 actors that have been named to play him already?
it's going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, okay. or Shaq, of course.
Or yeah. No, he plays Kazam. The Kazam 2 is coming out.
Kazam 2 Electric Boogaloo.
That's all right. But
Somebody needs to come up with a new rhyme for number 2 sequels.
What would you do? Kazam 2, what would you do?
But the interesting thing about this is, remember, I don't know how long ago, we heard that we are getting a Silver Surfer special presentation.
Oh, I wonder if
So,
that's out the window.
or if it's still up there and it's going to kind of lead, we're going to find out how he became Galactus' herald. Like, we'll see Galactus in this, and he'll come to, Nornrad's home planet, and he'll decide, if you spare my planet, I'll search for other planets. And then when he shows up on Earth, we already know kind of why he's there. And then it can be the Fantastic Four's dealing with him. Which I have to say, I'm pretty shocked. I honestly thought, because we're in the multiversal saga, that we would see them back in ancient Egypt talking to Roma Tut. Because since he's a Kang variant. So, which I'm not disappointed they're going this way because I still think at some point we're going to find out, get a hint in Secret Invasion that's coming out early next year that the reason the Skrulls are coming to this planet is because Galactus ate their homeworld or something. That'd be a good way to say, hey, yeah, we have to come here because, Galactus ate our homeworld, but they're doing it the wrong way or whatever. So,
I wonder if you're talking about ancient Egypt. Would Khonshu be there as well?
He would be, yes. And actually, there was a nice run on West Coast Avengers where Moon Knight was part of the West Coast Avengers at the time, and they were lost in time. I shouldn't say he was part of the Avengers yet. The Avengers were basically lost in time, and they were back right when the Fantastic Four were battling Roma Tut. And basically, Khonshu went to Hawkeye. We found out Hawkeye designed a lot of Moon Knight's weapons. And he was working for Khonshu. He brought him back to life, and he was working for Khonshu to help make sure that the Fantastic Four were, won and were able to get back to their time for whatever. And it was actually a nice little tie-in to the old Fantastic Four comic. And then obviously, when they got back to this time, Moon Knight met up with him. Khonshu wanted him to become an Avenger, so he did. So we could see Khonshu if we did see some ancient Egypt fun in the Fantastic Four movie.
That would be nuts. We had a little Moon Knight in there, just a cameo.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be crazy.
At least that would finally tie it better into the MCU.
Yeah.
They didn't mention
Like I said, I felt that was what was most lacking about the Moon Knight series is, to me, it felt like there was no real connection to the MCU with his character.
No, there really wasn't. Then we got one. Oh, no.
What was it that boring? What I said?
No. Sorry, I'm moving pictures around in OBS to make sure. I need to make sure we're ready for tangent time because
At any given time.
at any given time, yes. So the next rumor that My Time to Shine has said outside, we got a lot of Fantastic Four stuff, is that Liza Gonzalez is the front runner to play Sue Storm,
Okay.
the
I think
Invisible
that's a
Woman.
great choice, personally.
She was great in Baby Driver. She was great in
She was a Bloodshot, right?
Yeah, Bloodshot. She was good in Bloodshot. She was in Ambulance, that Michael Bay movie. So, Dave, I don't know how she was in it. If you let us know.
I didn't see that movie.
I know. You've said many times your disdain for Michael Bay. So, but yeah, I kind of like this. I hope all of this information trickling down, if these are from reliable sources from My Time to Shine, I hope this means we're about to get a lot more Fantastic Four news.
That'd be nice. Now, I like the casting that we know that has been rumored so far. I just hope they don't drop the ball on the story.
No,
It's already happened 3 times.
very true. The one thing he also said too is that Penn Bagley from You was never considered for Reed Richards.
Really? He's
Oh,
a good actor.
Yeah, I thought he would be great as Reed Richards.
okay.
I like his calm chaos that he possesses.
He would, yeah, I think he would be great.
And what's his name from The Office is not in the running for Reed?
Well,
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski,
He should be.
he should be, and he said he came out in an interview and said, no, that ship has sailed. He's like, it was a one-time thing. He goes, basically, I was filming Jack Ryan season 3, which comes out this week on Amazon Prime, and he said, Kevin Feige called my agent and said, hey, we just want him to shoot a cameo. Can he come out? He said it worked in my schedule. So I went out and fulfilled that dream I've had of playing Reed Richards. But he goes, that's all it was. Now, whether he's lying to
Oh, is this like an
negotiate,
Andrew Garfield thing?
Yeah, he's pulling a Garfield.
it could be. But once again, we won't know yet. But it doesn't sound like he's going to do it.
You'd figure if he was going to do it, that Sue Storm would be his wife.
Yes, Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt, that's her name, yeah. And not Isa Gonzalez. But, I mean, we don't even know if Isa Gonzalez right now is just a rumor as well, so.
Right. Rumored as the
nothing
front
concrete.
runner. Nothing is signed yet. Yes.
Right. We got nothing concrete yet, so you never know.
Yeah, I could see her as a Sue Storm.
Once again, much like when they cast Jessica Alba, I remember John Byrne was like, why would you cast such a beautiful woman to turn invisible?
To be invisible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so they could do those nude scenes. That's why. Oh my
Excellent.
gosh! I don't have clothes. Wow, how crazy!
Reed,
Yeah,
I
intentional.
better make some unstable moleculed uniforms so we always have them. They don't burn, they stretch, they turn invisible, and they don't make rocks itchy.
Who was it? What were the rumors on the thing? I wanted to mention one of them. Who was
Okay.
playing the thing? Oh, Terry Crews. I heard Terry Crews was in the running to play the thing. Of course, that's just one of them rumors. But that dude's huge. He's been working out, it seemed like every minute of his life. So he would be a good thing, I think.
I don't
Has he done
know.
any serious roles?
No, not that I know of.
I didn't think so. He's only done, I think, comedy mostly.
And I
Yeah,
want
well,
somebody
not that
who
he couldn't
can.
put off.
I want somebody who can have, because Ben Grimm was depressed at certain parts of his life because he was, he looked like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we need an actor who can hopefully portray those emotions, not just some guy who can. Hey, I was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You want to hear a zinger?
Well, all comedic actors are hurting inside. Don't you know that?
That's true. Good point. Good point. And honestly, Marvel has a good track record with comedic actors. I mean, Star-Lord, Chris
Ant-Man?
Pratt, Ant-Man, Paul Rudd. Anyone else?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that is. I thought there was one more. Oh, Camille Nanjiani. I mean, he was good, comedic actor who took a role in The Eternals. That might be it.
If you think about it, Bradley Cooper, he's been funny, and like what was that movie he was in? Those 3 movies.
A Star is Born?
No,
No, I know.
the
I know The Hangover.
The Hangover. Yeah, he was funny in those. But it's not really him. It's still a animated animal.
Yeah, because he doesn't even show up to do the mocap for it. That's Sean Gunn. And then he just provides the voice at a later day, yeah. Which makes me
Unlike
wonder.
Vin Diesel, who actually shows up to do Groot.
Yeah, but he does the mocap for him and everything. Because it's about family, Dave.
It's about family.
What else we got there, Keith?
That is all that I have for tonight.
Oh,
Well, in that case, let's see. We've got a half an hour left.
20 minutes.
All right. Well, I have a thought. And I'll leave it up to you gentlemen, if you want to do that. How would you like to turn this little holiday special into talking about some of our favorite holiday special memories? Different special episodes that were holiday themed, or special little movies or things like that maybe you saw, like, I don't know, the Star Wars holiday special, or maybe the Different Strokes holiday special. I don't know, whatever dark
Charlie Brown.
memories are still floating around in your yellow whale brain juice that maybe you're like, oh, that was weird.
Did that get too itchy for you, Keith?
It did. It was because it's Sully's hat and it was too tight and it actually was smashing my ear a little bit.
Cutting
totally,
off the circulation to his brain.
just a little bit.
You need to top off on some whale juice.
I do. I could use some whale juice. It keeps me young. I'm getting old here.
No, but you know what? The ones that I liked growing up, the holiday specials, were just the traditional ones. Rudolph, Frosty the Snowman, Charlie Brown. I get excited for those every year. But then the Star Wars one was just so ridiculous. Even at the age I saw it at, I was like, oh my God. And like we were saying earlier, we weren't saying it on the broadcast, we were texting. Die Hard. And I sent this thing, Bruce Willis saying, it's not a Christmas movie. But yes, it is. It happened at Christmas. Everybody watches it at Christmas.
Christmas
It's the
music
best of the
was
series.
Christmas music was playing in the background. It's a Christmas movie.
Mhm.
Yep.
But I did
It
like
was
when Bruce
definitely-
Willis was like, "It's not a Christmas movie. It's a Bruce Willis movie."
Yeah.
That's right. Bruce Willis is always present at Christmas, if you believe.
Same with Ray Liotta. Oh wait, did he die? He died this year, didn't he? Ray Liotta.
Yes, he did.
Ray Liotta is inside all of us.
Well, yeah, he's Santa now. That's what he gets to do.
Yeah, so you know how it goes. If you leave out motor oil and bullets, Bruce Willis will come and visit, and he'll leave clean coal in your stockings.
Oh, nice. I did not know that.
Did
That's
you ever
so
watch
nice.
Jingle All the Way?
Oh God, yeah. With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
With Turbo Man. I need to get
Yeah.
Turbo Man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was terrible.
that came out at the perfect time for me when I was growing up, because I was just young enough to not realize what a bad movie that was. And so I could go in and watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie and I need to...
You could watch
That
an
and the
Arnold
Santa
Schwarzenegger
Claus.
movie that he wasn't a robotic killing machine from the future.
Or was.
Conan.
Oh, now you're right. Conan was great. I loved Conan the Barbarian. When I saw it when I was young,
He
I haven't
barely
seen it in many
spoke
years.
English at all back then.
Yep.
Speaking of movies that came out around that time, do you all remember the Santa Claus with
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen? Yeah.
Yeah, they have a new series on Disney Plus with him in it.
They do. I have not watched it yet, but in my opinion, and this is just me, I went back and I watched The Santa Claus, and it doesn't hold up as well as I thought it did. But that's mostly because I just don't like Tim Allen. Like, I thought it was funny back when I was a kid, but watching that movie now, it's like, he's such an ass. He is such a terrible person, and, like, ever since he played that role, it's like, that's just who he's become ever since. And in that show that he was on, Last Man Standing, he's just a worse version of that.
Yeah, he's definitely extreme views. Let's just put it that way. He's got extreme views.
But yeah, somebody had made an alternate cut of that movie, and turned the stepdad into the hero. And I'm like, oh yeah, he actually was a nice dude. Okay, there was nothing wrong with him.
I love it when people can do that. Just turn a movie on its side like that. You ever see 500 Days of Summer?
Yeah.
I mean, I like that movie the way it was, and I saw it from his perspective. But then I saw an interview with Joseph Gordon-Levitt saying, no, man, you're looking at that movie, you're all wrong. I was the antagonist. I was the one. I was the psycho, not her. And then you watch the movie again, and you see it after he says that, and you're like, oh my God, he was the psycho. I love it when an actor can do that when you don't even think of it that way. You know what I mean? And you just get a different perspective on the movie. Any other movies like that for you guys?
Eternal Sunlight of the Spotless Mind.
Okay, so what was your perspective to begin with?
So it took me a minute to understand like what was happening, but my perspective originally going in was, these two people, they, it's a chance meeting, but they're really fighting. They're in so much love with each other, and they just, they're meant to be. But it turns out that's not the point. It's actually the exact opposite. They are terrible for each other, and they've gone through this memory erasure thing multiple times.
Kind of like Total Recall.
Exactly. And they keep somehow bumping into each other and falling in love with each other, but then their relationship is so much on the rocks that they decide, well, I better go through this whole memory erasure thing and, forget that this person exists because it's just so bad for me to be in this toxic relationship. And you come to find out it's literally like their third or fourth time doing the same thing. But the company won't tell him because, they're making money.
Right.
Oh, we've never seen you before. You need to sign this sheet before we erase your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't think of any movies that I've seen from a different perspective after like hearing something like that. Except
I got
maybe
another one for you.
like Star Wars, because like The first Death Star they blew up, that was a battle station. The third one
Yeah.
was still being constructed. How many construction workers, plumbers, and everything else was still on that trying to complete the construction of it when the rebels blew it up. I mean, they killed a lot of innocent people that day.
The Empire
right.
had 2 9/11s. That's terrible.
And I think about that. That's a perfect example, Keith. Like, oh, I had friends on that Death Star. That shirt. But that's like right from their perspective. From another perspective, the rebels are the evil ones, right? So, like another one. Did either of you guys watch The Walking Dead?
No.
Yes. I watched The Walking Dead up until Carl got bit, and then I stopped.
Okay, so you know who Negan is.
Oh, yeah.
So the first 6 seasons, it was from the perspective of Rick and his people.
Yep.
And then the season 7 premiere, Negan comes in and he kills Glenn and he kills Abraham, and he's the asshole from then on, right? And they got to defend against
Oh
him.
my gosh, yeah. I've gone back and I've watched like a YouTube best of Negan, and it's like all where he's bashing people's brains, and I'm just like, oh my god, I forgot what a total shithead he was.
But Rick killed a lot of people himself. And if you think about it, if you look at it from Negan's perspective, his world was fine until Rick came into it. And of course they're going to try and stomp out whatever's ruining theirs. So if they had filmed it from the perspective of Negan being the protagonist, Rick's in the wrong. And it makes total sense. So when you go, I love it when you can see a movie like that or a TV
Sort
show.
of.
From a different
Sort
angle.
of, but I also looked at it from, and Keith knows this, I love post-apocalyptic like movies, shows, and games and everything. And I looked at Negan and I associated him with like raiders. Going in and taking things that aren't theirs, and that's how they're surviving, where the people that were with Rick were really attempting to set up a plot of their own, grow food, and survive on their own. They weren't trying to go around and steal from others, where it seemed like that was Negan's primary thing. And if they happened to be able to grow some stuff on the side, cool, but their primary thing was scavenging and stealing. And like that was how he got most of his stuff.
He had his own town set up.
Yeah, he had his own town set up, but most of their supplies came from raiding all of the other local towns and stealing their shit.
True.
If you remember, that was like what he said, like the reason why Rick fought him. Negan came and said, hey, you owe me half your shit. And Rick and Company are like, no, we're not giving you anything. Like, this is ours. You didn't earn any of this. And Negan was like, all right, well then, I'll have to kill some of your people.
And
So that was the direction that I took it from. I suppose if we had followed him from the beginning and watched him change, because I remember his backstory was he was supposed to be like a gym teacher or whatever prior. And if we had followed him, emerging from the rubble and trying to survive on his own and having to become what he became, then maybe I would feel more for his character.
Right, exactly. That's if you look at it from that perspective, then he's the good guy, But I don't think any of them were really good on that show.
Not really, no. No, especially by that point, no. All those garbage people were the worst.
Oh yeah, people living in the garbage dump.
They did not fit in with that show at all, because it had been, at most 5 years since the whole zombie thing even happened. And all of a sudden they discover the Thunderdome people and Master Blaster of the trash dump, and it's like, it's only been 5 years, guys. Like, fucking chill a notch.
Like,
you do not have.
Holy crap.
you can still, speak in full sentences. It's okay.
You didn't have to abandon all forms of civilization first.
Right. Trash bag is best clothed now. Ah.
Ah. That was my Avatar moment.
Circling back to holiday stuff real quick, because
Here we go.
I did want to bring this up. There was something that I had watched when I was a kid, and for the longest time I thought people were like trying to just gaslight me into thinking that it was a fever dream, that it wasn't real. But I looked it up on YouTube, and this is a real thing. Have either of you seen the Pac-Man Christmas special?
I have not.
So this was the intent was back in, when Atari was still, hot shit and Pac-Man was all the rage. The thought process was to create a Pac-Man animated series. And I don't think the full animated series ever got off the ground, but they did create an animated Christmas special. And so they introduced you to Pac-Man, Mrs. Pac-Man, and, Pac Jr. And they lived in, I think, Pac-Town or whatever. And the ghosts, they all spoke with, these, oh my gosh, what do you, mobster accents. See, we're gonna get Pac-Man, see?
Yeah, we're gonna get you, see? Yeah.
Yeah. And it was drawn in, the same sort of Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo style. It was so hilarious and so janky, and Pac-Man is like, all right, Mrs. Pac-Man, I'm off to go get power pellets. Okay, Mr. Pac-Man, you come back soon, and maybe spend some time with your son and get a job. I don't know, it'd be nice. Ah, get off my back. Uh-oh, there's ghosts. And they ended up doing something that I guess I had never really thought about in the world of the game. They're like, hey, we need to explain what happens when the ghosts run into Pac-Man, because we can't just have him disappear. So here's the route they decided to go.
They became Christmas tree ornaments.
Pac-Man eats the ghosts, right? Well, it turns out it also goes in reverse. The ghosts eat Pac-Man. Yeah. So in this show, in this animated Christmas special, Pac-Man is going around trying to collect power pellets, and if he didn't have an extra life on his hand, or whatever they called it in the animated special, if he didn't have that on him, when he got munched, as they put it, because I guess they didn't want to promote cannibalism or whatever, when he got munched, he disappears and then reappears in, back at home or whatever. He goes, oh man, the ghost munched me.
Oh my god.
It's like, this is horrific. I had watched this, and I'm just like, oh my god, this was for children.
All I can think of when you say the Pac-Man special, all I can think of is what he said in Scott Pilgrim about the original name for Pac-Man.
Oh, the Paku Paku.
Wasn't it Puck-Man?
Oh yeah.
And it was too close to
Mm-hmm.
to market it.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you live in Pucktown.
Hey, fuck off, see?
Yeah, fuck off, see? Yeah.
Yeah, but I did find it hilarious. If you think about it now, that in Pac-Man world they still celebrate Christmas. So does that imply that there was a Pac-Man Jesus? That was
There would
born?
have to be, yeah.
And Pac-Man Jesus is going to gobble dots for your sins?
Well, just so you know, as my son says, you can't spell Jesus without sus.
Okay. All right.
That's funny.
And don't forget to hit us up at Twitter, leave a comment down below, and we will see you next time on Not Your Status Quo.